So let's say back in April, somebody would have said to you, hey, you're going to start a World Series game. What would your prediction or what would your reaction have been?
Probably would have been probably not. But it was always in the picture. I think we struggled early on, but we knew the outcome. If it were to get in this spot, that we would be here and ready to help our team win.
Paul, in the third row on the right.
Brandon, obviously you've had some big starts last series, some big moments. Again, this one with Game 4, pitching plan uncertain. How much does that factor into your plan and attacking guys and trying to get as deep as Torey will let you?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a short leash or not. So we're just going to go out there and treat it like any other start and be ready to go, try to attack guys to the way we've been doing and try to be as efficient as possible.
Over here on the left side.
Can you speak to the confidence that the team had after getting that win in Arlington, a very raucous crowd, and being able to come back home now?
Yeah, I think it was big for the team gaining that momentum, coming back home with it. Kind of vice versa to Philly, we came back home with a 2-game deficit, and I think that's huge to come back home and have our fans behind our back with the even ball game, and I think we're ready to go and have that home field advantage for sure.
Chris, back left.
What's up, Brandon? In the last 6 weeks, has your life changed outside of baseball? Like, do people spot you and they're like, hey, there's that Pfaadt guy or anything like that?
Yeah, I think for the first time ever. 3 weeks ago, me and Ryan Nelson went out to eat, and this kid walks up and he's like, hey, can I have a picture? And we're like, wait, does he recognize us or he just wants a picture? And that was pretty cool moment. So yeah, a little bit, but not as much as you would think.
Jesse, here in the second row.
Hey, Brandon. This is kind of a cool full circle moment for you. I imagine your first career start coming against the Rangers, now pitching against them in the World Series. Just what is that like, and how do you feel like you've evolved as a pitcher since that first outing back in May?
Yeah, it was cool going back to Arlington. It was like a full circle. That debut day was kind of a blur, but some things came back when we showed up to the ballpark, and that was really cool to be there and kind of see that full circle moment. And I think the way we've grown over the season has been tremendous, and ready to get back after him.
The back right corner.
Brandon, I was going to ask, emotionally, what is this like for you? Do you feel a lot of pressure? Are you able to kind of compartmentalize and also be in the moment and enjoy this moment and what all this means?
Yeah, I think there's always pressure in these moments, but I think that's why after repetition and practice, I think that's where it all comes into play. I think we've had a few postseason starts now, so we've got that under our belt, and I think the step gets higher and higher, but we're ready for it.
Ron, right in the front.
Brandon, when last season ends in Reno, do you go watch the playoffs and World Series? Where were you back home at?
Honestly, I don't really even watch sports, to be honest. I think I watched one World Series game last year, and I was definitely back at home. That was after the AAA championship, so yeah.
Where's home?
It's in Kentucky.
In Louisville or
Louisville? Yeah, Louisville actually, but I'll say Louisville to.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, all good. We won't get into that.
Back over here on the left.
Do you feel like Kelly gave you a blueprint of how to attack these Ranger hitters?
For sure. I think when you have a guy like Merrill go out there and do the job he did, that kind of just sets a standard for the rest of the series, and I think that's huge for going forward for his next start, for Zach's next start, and for my next 2 starts, or maybe one, hopefully one. And I think it just sets that ground force and how we should attack the guys moving forward in this series. And I think, yeah, for sure.
Jesse in the middle.
The pitching question, but most athletes do like other sports. You just like getting away from it. How come you don't like other sports?
I really don't have an answer for that. I love sports. Okay. I love all sports. I actually just started. This is my first year of fantasy football, so I just started watching football. I kind of like it.
my pitching question, you face the Phillies. I feel like the Rangers are kind of similar, very lengthy. Does it give you a little bit of a blueprint, even though it's different hitters?
Yeah, I think probably the same game plan is going to be similar, and they have a few home run hitters just like the Phillies, and I think limiting that damage early is going to set a key for the rest of the game.
Towards the back in the middle.
Brandon, I'm curious. We've heard from a lot of different professional athletes talking about what they do the day of the game, whether it's visualization or affirmations, whatever it may be. Is there anything you do specifically, especially ahead of a big game like this, that you want to stick to your routine, whatever that might be?
Didn't you ask me that last week? No? Okay. No, I was just wondering. So the way the routine works during the season, I think we just keep it the same. I'm not superstitious or anything, so whenever I wake up, I'll wake up and I'll eat and then just prepare for the game, whether that be game planning or getting my body ready.
Anything else for Brandon? Teo?
Brandon, obviously a lot has been made about everything you went through this season with the send-downs and all that. Of all of that, what was the most difficult moment, hardest moment of this season for you?
I think the hardest moment was definitely getting sent down. That's going to be hard for everybody, but I think it all depends on the way you take it and which road you want to take. And I chose the road to the positive mindset and go down and work on things, get better, and here we are. It all paid off.
When you were sent down the first time, you're saying?
Kind of both, honestly. I think both were similar, and we came back better.
Alex?
Hey, Brandon, have you spoken to Merrill about yesterday, what worked for him, that kind of deal?
No, I kind of let him be yesterday. I'll talk to him today, I'm sure, and how he game planned. And, so probably have a similar game plan and similar attack. So obviously it worked. So
Here in the middle.
Hey, Brendan, can you talk a little bit about Brent Strom and how he's affected you, changed things, and got you to be pitching the way you are?
Yeah, he was the focal point of it all. I think going down, he had a few things to work on, and he was dedicated to the process, and so was I, and we kind of met in the middle and worked on those things and became a better pitcher. Brent was awesome during the process, and we're still working on things.
In the middle, towards the aisle.
Brandon, how do you feel now physically compared to this, let's say, 2 months ago? Because everyone says, a pitcher's got to pitch late into October. We're almost in November here. So how do you feel?
I feel great, honestly, and I think that's what you train for in the off season is to last until October, and I think it's all paying off from last off season, the amount of work we put in. So I feel great, and I know next week I'll have some downtime for sure, so I can put out one more week.
Any last ones for Brandon? All the way in the back on the camera platform.
Hey, Brandon, just big picture, watching Merrill and Zach work on a day-to-day basis, what are some of the things that you've been able to take from them and apply to your game?
Yeah, I think ever since I got called up, heck, even during spring training, just even watching them work day in and day out, you can kind of pick up on things, pick up on routines. You can ask them questions about their game planning, and I think that those two things have been huge for me and huge for my growth. Having those two guys at the top of the rotation have been key for not only me but for relievers to set that ground rule and show everybody how it's done. So they've been great.
Take one last one towards the back in the middle.
Brandon, we've heard Torey Lovullo say multiple times, connected team is a dangerous team, and I'm curious from your perspective, how have you seen that connectedness grow throughout the postseason to get you guys here in this spot?
Yeah, I think it all came together during our losing streak back. I don't know when that was, and you kind of saw the team come together. We had a team meeting, and we said, look, if we want to play in the postseason, we need to start winning games now. And I think that's really when we all came together and now in the postseason, we're showing people that a connected team's a dangerous team, and that we're all here for each other.
All right, thanks a lot, Brandon. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks.
Hey, Torey.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't get to my WhatsApp list of things, so I apologize for not getting back to you.
No worries. It was a 20-hour travel day yesterday. With Christian, he made such an impact last night on defense, and has for the last several years. Just how have you seen him improve as a defender from when he first came to this organization to now?
Well, I mean, his glove is made of gold, right? And I think he's going to be strongly considered for another one this year. But that came with a price. There's a lot of hard work, and there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and some freckles that he's left on that field to prep for those moments. I was amazed at the play he made yesterday. Everybody knows what it's like when you go to field the ball, and we all can go back to that time when it takes a ricochet and goes in a totally different direction. That was athletic. He was prepared for the unknown. He didn't take anything for granted, and he made a great barehanded play. Those are the little things that he just instinctually is able to do. But he cycled through some tough times, some very lean times, and did it because of the hard work that he put in. Tony Perez-Chica deserves a lot of credit, but Christian deserves mostly all the credit for the time that he spent out there on RJ or Gonzo and Field 1 that nobody knows about. He's a complete baseball player.
Over here on the right side, third row.
Torey, I know you've said before that as a manager, you would do whatever it took for this team to win games, whether it was a 3-run homer or stealing bases or anything like that.
Right.
But for you personally, being an infielder in your playing days and kind of being that defensive / speed, is this kind of team fun specifically just because it seems like the kind of team you would have liked to play for?
Very much so, right? I work hard to see the game through a pitcher's eyes or a catcher's eyes or hitter, which I've done. But I see the game through an infielder's eyes. I still watch it that way. I still evaluate it, rate it through an infielder's lens. And I just know that when teams were fast and were unpredictable and were striking from a lot of different angles, it made it tough for me to go out and play a very relaxed game on defense. Now, relaxed in a way that your mind is empty and you're just reacting and just playing the game the way you want to. I know that I'd feel the pressure the minute that I stepped on the field, and I felt like that was an advantage to the offensive team. So when we were putting together some thoughts about what type of team we wanted to be, the little things were going to matter. And that has always been important to me from the first day that I arrived here as the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And it's just amplified since we've become very athletic. And we can outpoint you, we can outjab you, we can run a marathon with you, and we can also hit some home runs at the right time to beat you that way. So we're very dynamic, and that's what pleases me the most.
Jesse.
Torey, is the plan to have the roof open or closed tomorrow? And do you have a preference outside of crowd noise in terms of the way your team plays and having it open or closed?
I have no preference. What I said it when we were in Philadelphia. I don't care if we're playing on the moon. We got to go out and do the things the right way and play at a very high level. And we prepare. Obviously not to play on the moon, but we prepare for any type of circumstance to be able to compete. I'm almost certain, and I'm not sure, but I think Major League Baseball makes the decision on the roof being open or closed. It is not in the Arizona Diamondbacks or any type of stadium ops hands. Major League Baseball does a great job of taking care of all those things. So I don't know what the plan is for tomorrow. I should. It's probably out there. But I slept late this morning and didn't really get too engaged with what's going on for tomorrow yet.
Nick?
So you guys had Game 3 against the Phillies that was kind of a do-or-die type of game with a bullpen game behind it. I'm just curious if your plans are any different going into this Game 3 with a bullpen game behind that, just kind of your preliminary thoughts on how you're going to handle your staff the next couple of days.
The same way that we have been, just read and react. Brandon Pfaadt has been throwing the ball really well. If it calls for him to go a little bit deeper, I'll make that decision. But if we need to maneuver into the bullpen, I'm going to take care of Game 3 during Game 3. I can't worry about what some of the contingencies will be beyond that. At times I do have to have an open mind for Game 4, but we're going to do our absolute best to go out there and do our job in Game 3. And whatever that means, I'll read and react. And Brandon Pfaadt has been improving. I've been saying 18 plus or minus 4. Maybe I go a little bit further, but I'll have those discussions starting here in the next couple of hours.
Derek, standing up on the right.
Torey, I think the way you put it was that Christian left a lot of freckles out on the infield.
Yeah.
I wonder what you learned from him, and maybe that was an example of it when he got the opportunity to be your everyday guy,
Yeah.
especially when he was going to be compared to the guy you traded to clear that spot.
He was in a really tough spot. And I like that you're going to give me a chance to go all the way back, because I'll establish a little bit of a timeline of what it meant to this organization when he finally got his opportunity. He was playing in back of perhaps one of the best first basemen that the Diamondbacks had seen up to that point in time, in Paul Goldschmidt. And was he ever going to get that opportunity? And he was in AAA just waiting and biding his time. But he didn't waste time down there. He kept getting better. And we even tried to put him in left field so we could get his bat into the lineup when he was ready to emerge as an everyday big leaguer. Well, Goldie gets moved. We transitioned Jake Lamb over to first base, which was a fairly seamless transition in our mind, but Jake got hurt. And we were up against it a little bit. And we had the idea that Christian was going to get all the lefties and Jake was going to get all the righties, and we liked that platoon style of play. And then once Christian got his opportunity, he exploded and took off. And that's, to me, what stands out more than anything else, because I asked these guys, whether it's prepping for a play that you don't know when it's going to happen, or you can't predict when it's going to happen, but you always got to be ready to take advantage of something. Christian made something happen that wasn't not handed to him, and he was ready for his opportunity, and he grabbed it, and it's led him into this situation right now.
Alex, down here, second row.
Hey, sorry.
After the win last night, what was your message? What did you say to the guys in the locker room? And also, what's your message heading into Game 3 to the guys?
I don't say a lot after the game. You know, there's a Congo line of handshakes, and I'll say some things with some really aggressive words behind them and in front of it, and it's exciting. And I think they sense the intensity and probably the flush of emotion that's coming out at that moment. I think we're all feeling the same thing and saying the same thing. Like, we're not done yet. Let's keep going. Like, we got to play our best game in 2 days. That's what starts to pop out of my mouth really quickly. Enjoy it. Let's move on. Enjoy it. Let's move on. And then the back half of your question was?
What's your message to them headed into Game 3?
Yeah, okay. Into Game 3, I want them to be tenacious. You know, I feel like we play at that rate every single day. So I don't want it to change. I want us to be aggressive, smart, and ready. And the readiness shows up every day because this team loves to go out and compete.
Alex.
Hey, sorry, I was wondering if you can go over the Tommy and Jace swap and what those conversations were like.
Yeah, I know I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on social media, but my family will send me things, and I guess I was the idiot in the room that took Tommy Pham out of the game, right, to be the first guy to get 5 hits. This was, to me, a true team moment. Tommy Pham knew, I'm sure he knew, because he is extremely smart and pays attention to some things that you wouldn't expect a Major League Baseball player to pay attention to. I am guaranteeing you he was aware that he had a chance to get 5 hits. He came to me, and I know that he said it, so I'm going to openly say it. He came to me and he said, I need you to give my boy an AB. And I said, are you sure? You 100% sure? And I said, I gave him some contingencies. I said, if it's 7-1, that's the only score that I'll allow it to happen. 7-2, lefty, righty, I'm going to reconsider it, and I'll circle back with you. We all know what happened, but this was a moment where it was a teammate loving a teammate to give him an opportunity. He took what mattered most to him personally, number one on the list, and said, it's more about the team and my teammate at this moment. That spoke volumes about what that clubhouse feels every single day.
On the right side, towards the back.
After Longoria laid down the sacrifice, you had a brief conversation with him. Do you mind if you can share what you guys talked about?
Yeah, for sure. I asked him where he learned that technique, at Downey High School or at Long Beach State, and I was basically floored by what he just did. And he said, I probably haven't done it in 10 years. And I said, well, that's amazing because you were super athletic and super coordinated. It looked like you've been practicing every day of your life? He says, no, I haven't worked on that play in a long time. So I said, you're quite an athlete. I said, great play, great idea. I understand exactly what you're trying to do. You know, a little bit better bunt, and you got a base hit. And, you know, everybody asked after the game, did I put that play on? I put one bunt on yesterday, and you all know who it was for Perdomo. We've done it, whatever it is, 42 times this year. But it's an instinctual play. He tried to take advantage of a moment. We highlighted the reasons why we would try to bunt on that particular pitcher. It was an easy base hit. He knew first and second we would have a chance to score runs. It was a great baseball play, and I don't ever want players to stop trying to make baseball plays.
We'll do Ron and then Barry.
Oh, hang on here. Oh, I thought it was coming to you. Sorry, you asked great questions. So you're good.
When you get home today,
Mm-hmm.
are you able to fall asleep right away, or are you tossing and turning, replaying yesterday's game and thinking about next game?
Yeah, I fell asleep for about the last 15 minutes of the flight, and I was fairly I was in a good spot. I ended up watching some TV on the flight, took my mind off of it, but when I got home, I was up till about 5:30 thinking about the entire game. I went through it from start to finish. So, yeah, I got to my house at probably 4 o'clock, and I was up for the next hour and a half, energized and excited, but obviously going over some things that I needed to maybe improve upon or some things that I need to enhance. Yeah.
And we'll finish up with Barry.
So just to make you feel a little better, Jim Riggleman once pinch hit for Tony Gwynn when he could hit for the cycle.
Whoa.
Gwynn never hit for the cycle in his career.
Whoa.
And then Gwynn never said anything to him.
Yeah.
And Riggleman later said he didn't know.
Oh. Yeah.
These things happen.
Okay. I knew he was 4 for 4. I didn't know that nobody in the history of Major League Baseball never had gone 5 for 5. So that's why I asked him, are you sure you want this to happen? Are you sure? And he said, I need my boy to get in that bat in the World Series. He'll remember this for the rest of his life. He's like, you may or may not use him in another role, but right now I want to step aside for him. So, yeah, I would have known if somebody was up for the cycle, for sure. I got that on Riggs, for sure.
Hey, so you talked a lot about managing against Bochy, your relationship with Bochy before the series started.
Yeah.
It's only been 2 games in, but you've had a few, like yesterday. You brought in the left-handed pinch hitter against the left, and he went to the righty. You went to Rivera.
Yeah.
Those are kind of. Do you look at that and go, got him on that one?
Yeah, I was kind of digging myself on that for a second or two, but he knew it. He knew what my move was going to be before I knew what my move was going to be. But we had a favorable matchup, and I, of course, was going to utilize that. On Bochy, like I said, it's always an honor for me to be on the same field as him. I met him at home plate after introductions, and he's like, hey, Torey, this is awesome. It's pretty cool, isn't it? And for us to have a minute like that, it was probably matter of fact to him. It meant a lot to me. A, that he knew my name, and B, that we had a moment where we were talking about it being fun, right? He's an unbelievable manager, and it is a great honor for me to be on the same field with him managing in a World Series.
Do you know whether he ever took the fly fishing trip to Montana that you gave him?
You have to ask him. I think he did. He sounded like he was kind of excited about it. I remember he said to me, he goes, this is a pretty cool trip, a pretty cool present. Might be one of the most interesting ones that I have. Something along those lines made me think he was going to take that trip. I think I won like maybe my 200th game. I don't know what it was, 100th, 200th, whatever. It was a number. It was a nice big round number. And after the game, I remember saying, what stood out to you about that day? And I said that Bruce Bochy got thrown out of the game today on a huge milestone win for me, and I'll remember that. I obviously didn't remember it so well. I don't know what number it is, but it was a great day.
He was,
and Andy Fletcher threw him out of the game. I know that.
And he loves fly fishing. So you guys did some research before you gave that to him.
That's our group. Our group's unbelievable here. They know all those things.
All right, thanks, Torey.
Thanks, guys. Yep. See you tomorrow.